Oops. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
We're rolling. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 112 with Jeff Brightwell. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you are not a member of our Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. I want to remind you that the LHRL podcast is censored. If you're watching on Facebook Live, I make you no promises. But if you are listening to the recorded version, then any language that is used, we will be deleting out. But hopefully that will not be a problem. Strictly professionals in the room.
Ish.
Pretty much, for the most part. There's professional qualities of the people that are in the room.
I won't disagree.
Or at least people that would like to be professional.
I have seen
one
y'all
point.
be professional for periods of time.
There are professional intentions.
That's right. Within you, there is professionalism.
There is professional
We're going to tap
potential.
into that. We're going to tap into that tonight.
It'll be easier, because Amanda's not here.
We're going to get into that.
mouth.
Did you just want to bring me down right off the start and remind me that my wife isn't
That's
here?
what he does, man.
She's got a potty
what he
mouth.
did.
We just have to worry about her.
She's on suspension
Is that
because of her potty
one
mouth.
show
That's why
suspension?
she's not here.
She doesn't get paid for tonight.
That's right.
And she
She
has
can't
to
come
sit
on.
the bench.
And if she'll clean up her act, then she can come back next week. But we'll have to talk about that. Speaking of professional, we have a professional app, the Lift Heavy Run Long app.
Nice.
And for $3.99, you can be a part of it. And with the $3.99, what you get is you get added to the Lift Heavy Run Long community on the app. You get training from Valerie Hunt. You get 3 body weight exercises a week. You get 4 barbell strength exercises and 4 WODs.
I have been on our Instagram a lot in the last couple of weeks. And a couple of people had asked, I've been looking for this app. How do I find it? I Googled, searched it, and I couldn't find it. So, if you just go to liftheavyrunlong.com, there's a really easy button right there. Just click it, and you'll have everything you need.
And then it'll take you to the page where you can try any of the programs free
That's
for a
right.
week.
That's
Any
right.
of the programs we have, you can try for a free week. And it's possible I'll forget to take you off the app. So you'll have the thing for free for no telling how long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yep. For $9.99, you can have access to any and all of the programs that Lift Heavy Run Long has to offer. You can change programs as often as you like. If you're like me and you get bored, or if you see a workout that you don't want to do, and I'm like, I don't want to do that, give me something else.
Just go off the
You
rails.
can just hit shuffle.
There you
Just
go.
keep on coming till, you find like banded sit-ups and wall push-ups and I'll do that. Rest days. Like Vaughn did one time. Vaughn
Vaughn had a rest day
changed
once?
programs for an entire week until his rest days fell Monday, Tuesday,
Right.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I'm resting today because I started a new program.
Starting a new intense program.
It's going to start Monday, and I need to get ready for it. So I need to eat pizza and drink a bunch of beer today, and then Monday I'll work out on my new program.
That's the way it works.
And also, the goal of Lift Heavy Run Long is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible. So if you know someone who is struggling financially or in their personal life, and $3.99 a month is too much for them to come off of, and do you think that fitness would benefit them, please email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. They're welcome to use the app free of charge. If you are one of those people and life is not treating you very well and you don't have a lot going on, then you need to scoot over to thedailydumbbell.com and check that out. That is our new satirical website, and it is the most trusted source for fake news in the fitness industry. And we are excited about it. I have sitting to my right the professional of all professionals. We just talked about professionals. Do y'all know how excited I am to have a professional of this quality, caliber, of this type?
He's going to
So,
sound.
you admit that Vaughn and I aren't the professional level that you
I-
want us to be.
I-
Y'all are
admit that.
different kinds of professionals.
admit that.
We're all unique people.
I've
We're all
known this for
creatures
a long
of God.
time, Brian.
Okay.
I've known for a long time.
Jeff Brightwell. A lot of listeners are going to say, I know Jeff Brightwell from the CrossFit Games, the announcer.
Right.
Or I know Jeff Brightwell, he's the voice of the Memphis Tiger football. And Jeff Brightwell's sitting right next to me, to my right.
There he is in the
I
flesh.
could reach out and touch him. Vaughn's over there in his lap.
I
Do you want me
am
to give you some more
posting-
space?
No. I'm in
I was
his
planning
lap.
for someone to be here, so
I thought it was a metaphor for I was looking at my phone.
No. How are you, Jeff?
good. I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much for making the time to be here.
That'll be fun.
I knew if we didn't snatch you up now, then you were going to be waist high in it.
Yeah, football starts Saturday, so we'll be getting into that. Then basketball will be here before you know it.
Oh, my gosh,
Baseball
I
will be
can't
around the
believe it.
corner, and then happens with CrossFit next summer.
Once the pigskin is kicked off, are you just done socially?
No, that's not too bad. It's one game a week. It gets busy once basketball. Basketball really gets busy because I'll work with the men's team. And then one of my primaries is the play-by-play for the women's basketball team at the university. Then baseball, you're doing 60 to 70 games a year. Gets really busy then. But right now it's just Saturdays. I do the sideline this year. So it's pretty relaxed. It's not too bad.
He's been doing like a competition a week for,
Yeah.
for like
A
the
CrossFit
last-
competition.
CrossFit competitions like every 6 weeks or for like the last
I did
6
8
weeks.
this
he's
summer,
been-
yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
8 this summer. So he had to get them all in while he was on break
Right.
from his announcing stuff.
Did
I
you
may
do all?
have found one during a road weekend.
Oh,
in
nice.
October.
Nice.
Did you do all those with Bill Ferguson?
I did the one at Olive Branch, the wide for pause, and that may be the only one I've done with him this year. We've
The
been
one-
in other
the one
competitions before. Olive Branch.
Olive Branch
The wide,
CrossFit?
wide for pause. It was great. It was good. We will have not forgotten the 18-minute run
All
with
right.
the 45-pound plates. It looked innocent enough.
I had bruising for like 2 weeks
Yeah.
in my arm.
I just couldn't find I was telling Wilson before we went on the air, so I did the last run, and someone yells out of the door. It's like a minute and a half left, or 1:45. So I'm thinking I'm going to grab this 45-pound plate, run the 200 meters down there, and I'll be done. I didn't think I would run that fast. It was near the end of the event. I get down there and drop the plate, and they're like, "Oh, you still got a minute." And I'm just like, "No." Now I've got to sprint
to go-
200 meters.
I meant to go
back.
slower.
It's awful, yeah.
My pacing is off. Well, anybody who is part of Lift Heavy Run Long is part of Lift Heavy Run Long because of Bill Ferguson. He was our guest on episode number 55, possibly.
That sounds all right.
I watched that one. Yeah,
And he's
good.
the one that put us on the map. If it wasn't for him and his athletic prowess and name,
yeah.
then we probably wouldn't
He's a
even be here
good-looking
today.
dude.
He's a good-looking guy.
He's one of the only white people I know that can wear a
Flat-brimmed hat.
and look like a cool dude.
Especially in comparison to the dude he was before fitness.
Right. I didn't know him then, but
Because that dude could not wear a flat-brimmed hat and get away with it.
he would just look like a moron.
And
With a
Bill's been
flat-
lobbying for he wants us to do a Where Are They Now segment on
Oh,
him.
that's an excellent idea.
And I'm trying to get him to come back on with a friend of his, but he says he doesn't want to share the spotlight with anyone. So he's going to, he feeds us a lot of guests.
Okay.
Nice.
Good guy, runs with good people. So he's good to lift heavy run long.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Besides Jeff, we have the Reverend
You do.
Von Rawls.
I'm right here.
You're right here on time. Got a little time before the show to catch up with you, which is always nice.
Got a little wet coming in because it's pouring down rain.
It is pouring down rain. It's about time.
Kind of distracts you a little bit.
But it's quiet in here.
I was
It
gonna
is.
say,
Super
I
quiet.
think God's a fan of the show as well because I think it got quiet right as we went live. So
He's tuning
This
in
is
on
a-
Facebook. If you're listening, God, comment.
This is a high quality facility, our studio. It's a high quality podcast with high quality people and guests and equipment and all that.
I had no idea there was so much opportunity to pay for quality while building a studio. But everywhere you turn, it's like Probably need
Oh,
high
well,
quality.
if you just add this, it'll get rid of that little.
like
Do
the
we really
positive
need
spin that you put on
insulation?
that.
Yeah, we probably need high quality insulation. If we're going to get high quality insulation, we probably need soundproof insulation. So if we're going this far, we might as well get the high quality soundproof insulation.
It's better to spend the money up front than make repairs and
That's right.
upgrade throughout the years.
Well, I
Always.
mean, look at us. We're almost to 100,000 downloads, so we're doing something right.
That's right, because the Bill Ferguson episode.
That's
That
right.
was 94,000 of them right there. Then we have
this episode's going to push us over the top.
This is going to
This is when it all starts.
Actually,
This
this
is when-
episode will push us over the top.
This is
So
going to
there
be.
you
This
go.
is day one of Lift Heavy Run Long right here with Jeff Brightwell.
Well, we know, like, next time he's at regionals or something like that, he'll probably wear his LHRL shirt one
There you
day
go.
Of course
while
he
he's
will.
on the live stream.
Yeah.
Today is the day Lift Heavy Run Long became a podcast.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
He'll wear it under his blazer.
Exactly.
And we have the best looking cameraman in the business to sit behind the camera,
How you doing?
Brian Swanson. Man, I've never been better. How are you?
I am good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good's good. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Anything new?
I ran again this weekend with the weight vest. It was considerably harder than the last time I ran with the weight vest.
I was there.
I want to congratulate you on being 6'6", 230 pounds. I don't know
Oh, my
what's up with that
goodness.
picture.
I
but
need to repost that picture into the LHRL community group because so I am standing with a bunch of our friends and teammates, LHRL community members, North Mississippi Endurance team members, and Olive Branch CrossFit team members.
And you look like the mountain.
And I look
He does.
freakishly tall. Like I am a head or more taller than every single person in the picture. And I'm not that tall compared to all these people. I don't know if it was the angle or what it is, but maybe it was a short person that took the picture. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, but it wouldn't have made Vaughn look a foot and a half shorter than you.
Well, Vaughn had 1 foot off of the sidewalk that I was standing
But he's still pretty level on there. I've looked at it quite a few times.
Wow, okay.
He's still on the same piece of concrete as you. He's not majorly tilted. How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
And it's 6'2". So that's internet 6'5".
Okay.
And so that you can get away with that. I'd roll with that. You know, all the listeners know I'm 6'3.5", 230, run a 40 and 4.4. Still bench press 405.
Easily. On a slow day.
I would love to be 6'2".
I'm not complaining about being 6'2". That picture made me look freakishly tall.
Why are you complaining about being 6'6"? That would be on my refrigerator already. It might be. The picture of you's on my
I think I
refrigerator.
saw that picture. You should have worn your weight vest, the shirt over the weight vest, over the plate carrier, because then you
So
look
then
yoked up.
I look buff and tall.
Remember when you're kids and they sold the Hulk thing? You blow up the muscles and you put your shirt on over it.
Right.
I tell you what, you are muscled up, man, especially when you look at those pictures from 4 and 5 years ago before you got into fitness.
I appreciate that.
How many years ago was that?
I started running in 2010 and started CrossFit in February of 2012.
I started right after him at the same place.
Yeah,
I
that's-
started in June, my fundamentals under Michelle Kinney at
Yeah, so
Chickasaw.
I
is where
I
we
helped
started.
open CrossFit Chickasaw in May of 2012.
That was 2012.
and-
I thought it was earlier than that.
And
for
Jeff
some
was
reason.
the
It was in the first fundamentals
Jeff was in the
class,
very
yeah.
first fundamentals class, and because we opened May 18th of 2012, and he was June 1st fundamentals class. And
I would come in for the 7 o'clock fundamentals, and Brian would be the only one at the 7 o'clock class, and Jeff Baxter would be back there just yelling at him.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was-
I love Baxter. I was like, I want that guy to coach
yeah,
me.
I
'cause
was
he's
the
a-
only one coming to
Yeah.
6 a.m. class, and he's like, if I'm going to be here, then I'm going to make you suffer.
He got military background, so he coached that way. I loved it. I was like, that's who I want to train with back there.
Exactly.
Well, you're a different guy, that's for sure.
So it was. If that gym opened in 2012, were you around CrossFit Memphis, Brian, before Chickasaw? Like when I
did
met you,
fundamentals
what
at
year
Fac-
was it we met?
It was 2010 or 2011, and I hadn't started CrossFit yet.
Okay, you had not. For some reason, I thought you had.
No, because I remember when we took our trip to D.C., you went and dropped in somewhere. And
CrossFit Rubicon. I did.
You went and dropped in, and you were
Yeah.
trying to get me to go with you, and I was like, no, man, I'm not fit enough to do that stuff, and you just kind of laughed at me.
Ah, that's funny.
I hadn't even run an ultra at that point.
Okay.
I'd been running. I'd done marathons, maybe plural, but at the point you and I met, I hadn't touched CrossFit yet. But I already had Michelle Kinney and some other people in my ear saying I needed to be doing it.
I was brand new to CrossFit. I was going to actually go out to Faction, and because I was doing a boot camp out there, and we'd run past Faction. I'd see all the crazy stuff they were doing. And I emailed Doug Larson. He's like, I'm going to come to your fundamentals in June. So in the middle of baseball season, so there's no way I could have made fundamentals work because I was on the road so much. Then somebody told me, well, Michelle Kinney's opening a gym over here in Midtown, East Memphis. And at that point, I didn't know a bunch about the CrossFit Games. I mean, I kind of knew Rich Froning and everything. So I Googled her and was like, oh, she's been to the games 3 times. It's 5 minutes from the house, so I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up over at Chickasaw. So, and it's funny. I was just telling Brian, I saw him a few months downtown at Rail Garden. I was probably about sometime last year, but I remember a statement he made when we were at Chickasaw one day. We were doing the morning class. I can't remember if we were trying to do handstand push-ups or something like that. He's like, we're going to look back one day and laugh at what we could not do.
Seriously.
Yeah, back in 2012. It's like, I'm still kind of laughing at what I can't do to this day. But it's pretty funny to look back at some of the old pics and just think of the movements that you just thought were so unattainable. That you just stick with it.
Yep.
Just keep going.
I know how that goes. Got 3 quick announcements. The Chris Hope Foundation 5K and 10K is October 6th. Get online, join Team LHRL, or just get online and sign up for the race. You can do it virtually, or you can come to downtown Memphis and run it with us. The Big Hill Pond Walking Tall 25K and 50K is October 20th in McNairy County, Tennessee. Correct. And it's its first annual, and this thing's going to be huge.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
It's enormous.
And they're just off of sponsorships alone, they're like making huge improvements to the park that just never would have been possible if this race wasn't happening.
Yeah, they've built a couple bridges. I saw.
They rebuilt.
It's doing all kinds
a couple
of trail
bridges and stuff like that. Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
If I went into a race like that, my goal would be to have a lot of people sign up.
Right.
And then you take somebody like Brian and Sean, Brian Williams and Sean Hillsden, the race directors, who have such bigger pictures in mind. Their goal is to bring people to the park, to clean up the park, to get families into the park, to get people outside and to do things. And it's just so much more, what's the term I'm looking for? Altruistic, holistic. And it's just great to watch it
come together. Yep.
That's a lot of awkward phone calls that he's made that he's gotten people to bite. I mean, who has a Waste Connections as a sponsor, and then gets Ultra to donate shoes and be a sponsor.
Exactly.
Has 1,000 people in a Facebook group for a trail run, a local trail run.
That has never happened.
Does never happen.
Is there that many people in that group?
There's 1,000 people.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how long it took to get 1,000 people in Lift Every Run long time.
I should probably sign up for that race before it sells out. Please don't tell me it's sold out already.
Yes, you need to sign up for the race.
An exemption maybe.
Have you signed up for Sillamore?
Sillamore hasn't opened
not
yet.
Until November 1st.
Not Sillamore. Stinky Creek.
No.
Oh, Stinky Creek.
Are you going to do Stinky Creek?
I really want to.
Well, sign up for it.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, I just signed up this past week. So.
Yeah.
And then we have Carol's Memorial Day WOD. Carol's Memorial WOD.
I'm going to do that.
On October 13th.
Yes.
At Olive Branch CrossFit.
At Olive Branch CrossFit, Stage 4 Breast Cancer Day. We're going to have a big turnout there.
We are.
We're going to have a big turnout for Carol's Run tomorrow.
Apparently there are words getting out about this run more than I'm aware of. So
should there not be?
I did not. No. I'm not opposed to that at all.
I bet that there's a big turnout, and that will be because of
awesome.
Everyone's love for you and for Carol.
It'll be a good way to honor her.
We had a spike in reviews, but we had no reviews posted. So you know how iTunes will hold back reviews.
Really?
That's just rude.
I did not. How do you know that?
Because the number of ratings that we have.
Well, you can give a rating without writing a review.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Because I go on there every day and give a 5-star review. Not a review, but a 5-star rating.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do. It won't let me. It'll let me do a review, but you can click the star without writing a
And
review.
submit. Yeah.
So
Okay.
really what we're finding out is people are going through the effort of giving us 5 stars, but they're too lazy to actually type words to make us
Maybe
feel
that's
good.
what they think.
I bet they're taking their middle finger and hitting that button too. They might as well be.
If you get a
because they're
5-star,
hurting
what
hard.
else is there to say?
It's gonna be next week. There's gonna be 3 or 4 reviews. I'm not even gonna ask people to. If you're listening, don't leave us a review this week because I want to prove something to Swanson.
Well,
Je-
I do want to.
Jeff's gonna mention it. He's gonna Jeff is the first guest that I've been aware of. Probably not the first guest, but he's the first guest that I've been aware of that was helping get the word out about the live show tonight. Like I saw him all over social media posting,
I bet Jeff will leave us a review
He will.
and people will leave
Because
a
he's
review because he asks them to.
Yes.
because he's a class.
Leave a
act.
review.
On his next radio show.
Leave a review.
Before the next Tiger game.
You know somebody who left. You know who left a review?
Who?
Yeah, I'm sure. Rob Connor.
I'm sure he did.
has to.
If he didn't, I will go and.
But y'all
force
are
him.
arguing that he has not.
Are we?
I don't think he has. Maybe he has.
He's one of the ones that's being held back by iTunes. Him
Okay.
and 5 others.
I
Just
wanted.
trust me on
I have
this.
a particular shout out regarding reviews to a guy that I know from back in the day at CrossFit Memphis. His name, and I hope I don't butcher his last name. I don't know how to say it. It's Jason Leans, and he got stationed in Hawaii, so he moved his family to Hawaii, and when I made a post on the group about leaving a review, and he said, only because I love the podcast. Like he was going to go leave a review. And then I saw on his Instagram the other day that he was flying to San Diego. And he said, I got my phone loaded up with LHRL podcasts for the flight to San Diego. And I was like, man, it means a lot to me that you're listening to our podcast on your flight to San Diego. And he goes, dude, I never miss an episode. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jason. For,
And you know,
Thank you, Jason.
maybe what you should put out there for backup is some of the conversations we have in our private chat channels where we get positive feedback as comments on Facebook and stuff like that. I know they're not 5-star reviews, but
I should be reading those things off, shouldn't I?
Yeah, we should read some of those because we do really get a lot of great comments from people about how they love to listen to us while they're running and other situations that we, even if they're not leaving reviews, people still love us, and I'm good with that.
I could have an entire encyclopedia of emotionally charged emails and things that I've gotten
You should
through.
start
Lift Heavy,
printing
Run Long.
those out like newspaper articles and start the little photo album.
I've thought.
Oh,
I
man,
swear,
that's a great idea.
I swear I've thought about it. I've got them all. I've got everything. I told you about the one that I got hand addressed to me, a handwritten letter. There's just all kinds of stories of people that for whatever reason have done stupid things, signed up for crazy events because
Yeah,
of
I
this
saw a
podcast.
post-
We
I saw
haven't
a
pissed
post
them off
that.
yet.
It's
There
so
was one-
fulfilling. It's
There
so
was one
fulfilling.
today. A lady was talking about how, and I'm forgetting her name, but she was talking about the fact that she's looking for her first 50K just because this group makes her want to do something silly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's get all our hit and run athletes and coaches to give a review.
Exactly.
And anyone at HQ making sure I don't say anything that gets me fired, give a good review.
Is it asking too much? Do you get this a lot for people to be like, since you're on air to a huge audience, to be like, just mention just while you're out there, just see if you,
I don't get it much anymore. When I started out in broadcasting, lived in a couple of small towns in Missouri, way up north in a town called Moberly. It was 30 miles north of Columbia. And then I was in Cape Girardeau, which is not a small town compared to Memphis, but it's a decent-sized town. If friends came up there on the weekend, it's a high school game, so you could sneak their name into the broadcast.
Oh,
It would be
yeah.
different.
Nice.
Hey,
There's
Brian
nothing better
Swanson
than
made
that.
a tackle on 20. It's all district last year. Nobody knows because you're broadcasting for this one team. They don't know who else on the visitors
Exactly.
team. Sneak it in there.
Wilson would love for you to
yeah,
mention him in a
totally.
couple football
Oh, my
podcasts,
God.
especially at the college level.
Brian, Kelly Greer. Is
Kelly
the name
Kelly
we're
Greer.
looking for.
Okay, thank you.
And she's also on the Daily Dumbbell. I like Kelly Greer. She's always checking in over there.
Oh, speaking of the Daily Dumbbell, and speaking of getting Jeff to help plug us, he's tied into HQ. He could probably get some eyes on some of our funnier articles. there.
You need
Have
to
you-
check it out. It's worth
have you-
your time.
Right.
Have
something
you
about
looked at the
him.
Daily Dumbbell at all?
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
seen
seen
it.
any?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So the headlines alone but I say we, like I've written any of them. The Daily Dumbbell has had a couple of them where they have specifically called out like Concept 2 or HQ or Castro or a couple other people. They're just kind of
That's the Hollis machine. He goes straight for the jugular of CrossFit. Most of the CrossFit, anything CrossFit head HQ, anything knowledge based that's current event based is all going to be Hollis. Mine's just going to be fictional garbage.
Yours is Sean Hill's done walking across water.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is funny though, because we did one. He did one the other day. We were working out the other morning. We were talking about them getting rid of regionals.
Oh, man. I was laughing at
And
that.
I was like, oh, my God, it'd be hilarious if you did Barbell Shrugged, made a since there's no more regionals, it's like there's Road to Nowhere.
The Road to Nowhere.
Because there's no regionals anymore.
Yeah, because they had
I mean,
they had this program called Road to Regional.
They did,
Awesome.
yeah. And so I said, man, you should really do an article where it's like there's Road to Nowhere.
Said he contacted Doug Bledsoe in his Romanian yurt.
I was like, man, that's so funny. Like the program includes just sitting on the couch and drinking beer. like there's nowhere to go. So.
Said he either lost cell phone connection or he fell asleep.
Right. Oh, good times.
I should have had, if I would have had Jeff around during my triathlon this past weekend, he could have done a play-by-play on that because that was interesting, and that was play-by-play worthy.
Was it?
In Sardis.
How'd that go?
It felt really good. I mean, I didn't win, but
you won.
We made it on through. As far as the day goes, I won the day.
Still number one in everybody's heart.
In our eyes, you won.
Felt great, dude. Felt
Good.
great. I've been doing my keto thing for like 6 months.
Right.
And so, I went through, in a different mindset.
Okay.
And it was cool. So I'm looking forward to see how that translates into longer endurance races. So the endurance races that I have coming up, the Stanky Creek, which is not this weekend, but next weekend.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really excited to see what that 50K feels like on keto versus
Nice.
carving up.
That'll be interesting to see how that ends up for you. I, on the other hand, am afraid to try my current diet and training regime with a triathlon for fear of the Jameson doing too much while I'm in the water. So I'm going to stay away from triathlons while I'm on my current diet. And,
you should just bring the
training
Jameson
regime.
with you.
In the water.
In the water.
Like have a Camelback with Jameson in it.
Yeah, and Tailwind. Mix it together.
Holy cow.
Farms
That
diet.
might be our night before drink at Tunnel Hill.
Finally.
Jameson and Pre-Wad.
We're going to get on to our guest, Jeff Brightwell. So you graduated Harding.
Harding Academy in 91, Memphis in 96.
Graduated Memphis in 96. And went straight from Memphis into broadcasting.
Yeah.
Graduated in broadcasting.
Yeah, knew that's what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to do when I was in junior high. I knew I wanted to be a play-by-play guy. So,
What was your first gig out of Memphis?
I worked with the River Kings, and that just kind of happened. It's kind of I did some behind-the-scenes stuff at a couple of radio stations, just board opping, running the commercials, running the shows. But the first job I had was with the River Kings. So a buddy of mine who used to do weather on Channel 5, Tim Van Horn, was working with. He was doing the PR for the River Kings that year. And they needed someone to go to training camp with them down in Fort Worth for a couple of weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks, just do some TV stuff, send some stuff back. So I went down there, did the 2-week deal, came back, and Jim Riggs, the GM, when I got back, he's like, come to the office today, fill out the paperwork or whatever. And when I got there, he's like, look, our merchandise person just left. I know you want to do radio, you want to do get into broadcasting. I know you're looking for a job out of town, but why don't you come do this for a season? You'll do some sales. You'll be our secondary play-by-play guy. When Tom Stocker was in town, he did the old Memphis Chicks. So there were some games at the end of the year he couldn't do. So he's like, well, come here, work for whatever it was, 7-8 months, get some experience so we get on the resume. And then I know at the end of the year you'll be looking to move out of town, get back into broadcasting full-time. So I ended up doing the playoff games and the finals. It was a good year for the River Kings. They went to the finals. Sure enough, they lost in Game 7 of the finals. I mean, we got that far. and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get this ring. This is going to be great. Because if you work for a pro team like that, and we finished 4th place in the division. So, I mean, I hate to say this, but you're going to the playoffs just thinking, let's just get this over with. It's been a long year. We're the 4 seed, and there's so much that goes into a game day. It's when you get into working for a team, you don't get to watch the game. When the game's going on, you're doing all the stuff behind the scenes. So they're just long, long days. But they went on the run of the playoffs, and I told one of the guys, I go, they're going to get to Game 7 and lose. They're not going to get that stinking ring. And sure enough, they got to Game 7. It was a fun ride, though. It was fun calling the finals. But that was my first gig out of college.
Okay, well, here's a question. When you do something like that, do you have to know about the sport? Like is it something like you could call play-by-play for like any sport because that's what you do?
It helps, but I've called sports on one day's notice. When I lived in North Missouri, in that small town, they had a kid because high school wrestling's big in Missouri because they used to be in the Big 12, which is a big NCAA wrestling league, and a lot of their kids would go to Big 10 schools too. I forgot the kid's name, but they had a guy that had won state like 2 or 3 years in a row. He's a senior going for his 4th one. And small town radio, you'll do anything. If they can sell it, you're going to call. I've called like 7th grade baseball, you name it. I've called like youth athletics starting out in radio. And the reason they told me, like, go down to Columbia this weekend to the state finals and call, it was Alex something, call his wrestling match. He's going for his, 4th straight title. You're from Memphis. They like wrestling down there, so you'll. But I didn't know anything about actual, like, amateur wrestling. This is when the internet was just starting, so you couldn't even Google. You couldn't get on YouTube. I don't even know if there was YouTube to watch a broadcast. Fortunately, the public library was behind the radio station. I went over there and just got a book on amateur wrestling. Got the lingo down a little bit, knew a few of the moves, and then you went to the state meet, and they've got the scoreboard. So you just don't act like you're an expert if you're not. And you're on the radio doing play-by-play. We just say what you see, and they pop the points on the boards. So I'd be like, oh, Von Rawls got out of the hole, 2 points. He's leading like 5. It sounded great on the radio. Then, he rolls around, gets him in the hole, takes in another 2 points. And
oh, nice.
So, yeah, I've done that. Now,
so there's a lot of talent to that.
Well, there has to be. We were talking before the show about how much knowledge you have to retain. I get anxiety about reading the friggin' Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast every week, and then remembering the person's name that's sitting next to me because I'm so worked up about the podcast.
If you've ever seen Jeff's Instagram, like a lot of times, like before the games or before some kind of an event that he's calling, he takes a picture of like his cards that he's got, like where he's made up
the charts.
That's what he was telling me about.
And it's just, and I mean, I guess it's you just know where to quickly refer to the information.
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
For.
You have a chart, and everyone's chart's different. It's how you can access the information for you. It's not a standard chart. However I can access my information may be totally different than the way you can access it. Maybe totally. And some people are really good at retaining it up in their head. I need a chart. I need to be able to look at something. They're going back to that other subject, though, when the university got their softball team, I guess it's probably about 10 or 11 years ago, they started softball. Well, the first year we did a few games on the radio, and I was like, well, it's a lot like baseball. So I didn't know about the re-entry rules in softball. Baseball, once you're out of the game, you're done. So they take one of the athletes out, pinch run for her. Next thing I know, she's running back to first base. And I'm just, what's going on out here? I thought she was out of the game. Like, oh, no, you can do all that. So you just kind of get by.
You roll with it.
Then I stopped trying to explain what was going on. I was just like, Brian's back at first.
You sound great. So
absolutely.
I think if you sound great, you could probably screw up
you could say a lot of things.
80% of things, and it doesn't matter.
I've told beginning broadcasters to do that. I go, look, it's new. If you'll just talk with confidence, most people, if you mess something up, just keep talking.
When you said
like
Von Rawls came out of the hole for 2 points, I could see Von in his singlet coming out of the hole and rolling some guy over.
I threatened my boss when I was up there doing that wrestling thing. I go, I'm going to say something about his coach has a chair or a chain in his pocket.
That's what I was.
They were nervous. They're like, no, don't. I go, no, I'm going to.
He's throwing fire. He's going to his tights.
There's a guy that works at the university who does a lot of coaching for some of the local high schools, helps out in wrestling, Larry Johnson. And he's a pretty good wrestling coach, well known around the region. But I was always just mess with him because he's like hardcore amateur wrestling. And one day I go up to him and I go, Larry, you got anybody going pro this year? He's like, what are you talking about? I go, you got think anybody's going to get drafted by the WWE this year? He's like, shut up. And I would always ask him, I go, when do y'all pick out costumes? He's like, what? You talking about uniforms? I go, no, costumes.
Where do you pick your personality?
The most offensive thing.
Anybody going to wear a mask this year?
What's your intro music going to be?
I go, when are y'all going to have chair practice? Want to come out and watch that?
That's awesome.
We also discussed how, Vaughn mentioned how good you sound, and you do, and with your voice, you become part of somebody's vehicle or their home or wherever they're listening to you. And you had said that, every game is not Memphis beating Ole Miss.
Right.
That for every one of those, then you're, off doing some terrible assignment.
Some bye game or something like that.
But when you are part of an historic event like that, then you're part of, a father and son's bond. You're part of like a moment in somebody's life forever.
Yeah.
Where you're, that's Jeff Brightwell. That's the guy that announced,
Do you have any of those, like, he's going, he's at the 20, he's at 30?
No, I don't have a lot of football because I've only.
Well, I just mean like any
right,
sport.
Well, the baseball I do because I did like the 07 team that went to the NCAA. And
okay.
That's back when Rice was really rolling in baseball. They had been to the 6 or 7 World Series or a few years away from the national championship. Okay. And so we end the season against Rice, and they were the big dogs in the league when we were in Conference USA. They're a top 5 team. They were ranked second in the country, and we played them when they're number 1 and played them to end the regular season, lost 3 close games, went to the conference tournament, lost the first game, and we needed a couple of wins in the conference tournament. And so we end up losing to them the first day, and it's a double elimination. So we get back to them Saturday morning at 9 a.m. out at East Carolina, and it ended up beating them 2-1. Wow. And I just went berserk on the radio.
Nice.
Because it was just like such a relief, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to get us in. This will get us a few RPI points. We'll get to the NCAA. That's probably one of the most excited I've been calling a ball game. I'll never forget 07.
Is that part of your reel that you send out when you're looking?
No, because that was all radio. Now all my stuff's TV.
Oh,
it's on video on the YouTube channel. So.
Okay. Cool.
But it was when it was my radio demo. It was on there.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So walk us through getting in your foot in the door and into announcing CrossFit games.
All right, and it's a good story because
well,
usually radio.
Hold on.
Okay.
Back up. How did you get into CrossFit to begin with?
All right. Yeah. Well, I mentioned that boot camp that was down from Faction out in Cordova. Well, a buddy of mine, and look, I used to live the broadcaster's lifestyle. Let's just start out that. Broadcaster lifestyle, you're on the road a lot, and, you go on the road and you get to the hotel.
Fit man you see in front of you today.
You get to the hotel, and let's go to the lounge.
You weren't doing any fitness competitions.
No. I mean, I worked out, but I was always like, oh, he's the big guy that can move okay, the 255-pound guy that can move around all right. But, you get to the hotel, let's go have a few beers, and then here comes the burger and the wings, and then if you have a little too much that night, then you're crushing the breakfast buffet the next day, and you win the game. Hey, let's celebrate. You lose the game. That stinks. So you have some more beer and wings, and you just balloon up. But a buddy of mine was doing a boot camp, and I noticed he really leaned down. And so he's like, well, I'm doing this boot camp. You ought to come out and try it out. So I was like, all right. I was getting close to 40. And my dad died when I was 15. He had diabetes. Didn't really watch his diet or anything. Liked to eat, sweets, drink beer, and just heart couldn't take it. I don't think it was blockage or anything, just the stress on the heart. So I was getting close to 40. He was 47. So I was getting close to 40, and I thought, all right, I'm going this way or I'm going that way. My buddy Michael was in this boot camp, started the boot camp, loved it. Lost a bunch of my weight doing the boot camp. And we originally were doing the boot camp. The lady that taught it, her husband was the AD at Lausanne. We were at Lausanne. But then we moved out to that cheerleading gym that's down the street from Faction. So we would do our runs, go down to the runs, and we would run past Faction, and their garage doors would be open.
That's CrossFit.
And they'd be CrossFit Memphis. They'd be running out of the down the ramp with sandbags or beating on tires of sledgehammers and everything, flipping tires. And as I lost my weight, I started kind of getting that competitive edge back. I played high school stuff, played college club hockey, and as I got fitter, I was like, that looks like something I want to try out. So I started, like everybody else, Google CrossFit, YouTube all the videos. And back in 2012, late 2011, early 2012, that's still when CrossFit, right before it really blew up. It was starting to get pretty popular. But I think
so. You didn't have a reason to hate them at this point, the way that everybody else does.
Right.
Before they start CrossFit.
I think the first Open was like 2012, wasn't it? 2011 or 2012? Yeah.
But it hadn't blown up. I think the 2013 games in Froning one is second or third. Yeah. It really exploded. And so CrossFit Memphis, There was still no Chickasaw at that point. It was probably just Bartlett and CrossFit Memphis at that point. Were probably the only two boxes in Shelby County. Saw that, researched it, watched all the YouTube videos, and the best thing back then is everything was so raw. Even the HQ videos are really raw. They weren't so polished up and pre-produced. I mean, they're great now. They're movie video quality. They're high quality, but that was the old. You'd see someone in the garage. You'd see the dirty old gyms, them just working out. And I was like, I kind of like this. I'm going to check this out. And ended up, emailing Doug, but it worked out. It ended up over at Chickasaw. So it's been since 2012. So I lost the bulk of the weight at first at boot camp, but between the boot camp and then starting CrossFit, I put a little bit back on. I ended up leaving the boot camp because it was good at first, but it kind of deteriorated a little bit into more of a social thing, where he's like, okay, I've stood around for 30 minutes talking. We need to work. Now, I wasn't the best athlete, but I needed the work. Because some people were really fit in there, but it's like, I need to do this work. I don't think I'm fit where I need to be. Then CrossFit was outstanding. I loved it. I mean, I got into it. When I signed up for Chickasaw, Michelle offered a deal where you got half off anything you signed up for when they opened. So I got fundamentals in a 6-month. Because I thought, it's like, I think I'm going to like this. But if I buy a 6-month, I know I'll go back. And I knew I would stink at it at first, but if I stuck with it, and that's a good thing. Justin Lamance tells us, the owner of Hit and Run, he goes, if people start CrossFit and they know they're going to suck at it, they're usually going to do good. They're going to last. It's usually the people that come in, I'm going to dominate this. I did this in high school or this in college.
That's exactly right.
And they get their ego crush.
Yeah.
But if you come in with the attitude, I'm probably going to be terrible, but if I keep going and put the effort, I will probably get better and really enjoy it.
There's so much truth to that, because those are always the biggest success stories of the people that are like, have so much weight,
right?
Not very athletic, and they're like, holy crap, I just did a pull-up.
Yeah.
I didn't
do a pull-up my whole life till I started CrossFit.
We joke at Olive Branch CrossFit that we have a 100% retention rate on anybody that pukes during their first workout.
Yeah.
Like if you puke during your first workout, then 100% retention rate.
It holds true, because I just had a guy 2 weeks ago come in on Saturday, threw up 3 times out in the parking lot, and he is now an official member.
That's awesome.
Yep.
The first workout I did at Chickasaw, they used to do the free workouts on Saturday, and I teamed up with Amy Stanton.
Oh, wow.
She was nice enough to team up with me as a partner workout, and I remember we were doing like back squats with 95 pounds. I was doing fine with most of the stuff until it got on to the later, the burpees and the push-ups. She was doing pull-ups. I had to scale because I couldn't do a pull-up. I'm doing push-up. I'm just dying because you're trying to do correct push-ups. Right. CrossFit. It's not like PE class where you're sneaking up or doing it on your knee. And I thought I was going to lose it. I was like, man, I thought I'd kind of gotten in shape a little bit, and I worked out to get ready for CrossFit too, like everybody else does. I was like, I might throw up in here. This is terrible.
And once you're out of push-ups, you're out of push-ups.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you just got to work harder to find them.
Yeah, and I'm the newbie, and I'm looking up at Amy. I'm like, I'm sorry. Can you do some
sorry.
pull-ups and let me rest real quick?
Thanks for picking up the slack.
And so I was only a couple months into CrossFit before Jeff showed up at Chickasaw, and I was the only person coming to the 6 a.m. class. And so the coach always made me suffer, because he's like, if I got to stay here and coach you, then you're going to get this work done. And he was kind of a ball buster. And so it was good to have Jeff join that class. He was the second person at 6 a.m. and then it slowly started ballooning up until it got to about 5 or 10 people.
Right. I always told the coaches if I was the only one, I was like, sorry, I'm not going home. I'm staying. I went in to do the Filthy 50 for the first time, and Jeff Baxter was there, and I was the only one. It was like a 9 o'clock class. I was like, sorry, bro. I'm doing I go, you don't have to sit here and cheer me on. I understand. You sit up at the desk, tell me what I need to do, what I need to scale. And he was trying to be, he was doing the right thing, because I was still probably 6 months in the cross. So it was still fairly new. He's like, you can do the dirty 30. I was like, nah. I go, it's supposed to be hard. I'm sure he's thinking, oh, okay. I go, it's supposed to be hard. I'm going to do all 500 reps. I did them, but it was, yeah, when I would show up by myself, I'd be like, sorry, I'm just getting a one-on-one today. So
I'm the complete opposite. If it's just me, I'm going home. I can't work out without anybody else.
I used to show up at CrossFit Memphis at 6 a.m. And at the time, Doug and Mike would sleep there because that's where they lived, or at least one of them lived there. And so some mornings the door would just be locked at 6. And it was just me, but damn, I was going in there to work out. So I'd be knocking on the door. until Doug would like open up. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot to unlock the door." I was like, you were asleep. Like, I know that you were sleeping in there. Like,
No. Hey, 6 a.m.
I actually do that on a new gym. Hit and run bought Triad.
Right.
It's really nice. So they got a big leather couch in the office. If I have to coach 5 a.m.,
just sleep.
I'll
there.
crash it.
Yeah.
It's actually 30 minutes of sleep for me.
Yeah.
And I know if I oversleep, it hasn't happened, someone will bang on the door. So it's a built-in extra alarm clock. So.
So at this point in time, you're a 2-month CrossFitter, so you're basically a veteran. You know
Oh, yeah.
everything there is to know.
exactly.
Are you looking at Jeff like he'll
This
never
guy.
make it?
This guy.
Oh, this guy. Coach,
No.
let's really hammer him.
He doesn't have what it takes.
No, Jeff came in determined. I knew he'd be good long term.
I was gung-ho to start because I thought everything was like,
Well, I joked about him being like one of the only guests ever to like promote us on social media. So I helped open Chickasaw. So I built their website for them, and I had set up all their social media accounts. So I was an admin on all their accounts. Well, he was tweeting about them like 45 days before his
Yeah.
fundamentals ever started. He was
Starting
just
this
talking
stuff.
about it like every single week. He was posting 5 or 10 times about
Yeah.
the fact that he was about to start at Chickasaw. And how
That's
good it was
probably
gonna
why they
be,
liked
and-
me so much at CrossFit Memphis, because I was just like posting 5 times a day about people. I never even thought about that.
So
I think
before,
it's awesome, and you're
before
still
Jeff
like
ever-
that. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
doing 8 competitions a summer, I think that's great.
yeah. Michelle and Baxter were the two that really fed that fuel that fire. Because I started, there weren't as many comps back then, and I started seeing them, and some of them were scaled. And I went to Michelle. I was like, "Hey, tell me about these small comps I see in Little Rock and a couple in Memphis." She's like, "Do them. They're fun. There's a scale division. Go for it." Sometimes you see coaches like, "Oh, you don't need to. You need to be careful." She's like, "Go for it. You're competent in your movements. They're fun. You can only do the best you can do. So go out there and."
Was that Jackson trip I took with you?
Yeah.
Was that your first competition?
No, it's one of the first.
It was one of the first.
We go down.
Oh my gosh!
He wanted to go watch one. He hadn't been to
talk
one.
about like how well Watts for Paws went compared to this event.
It was in CrossFit Flowwood. They've closed, so they don't have to worry about me.
Okay, we don't have to worry about upsetting
getting
anybody.
sued or anything. They held that competition several years later. This was the first year they did this competition, so they didn't put a cap on the amount of people. And we get down there, so we check in like at 7:30 in the morning. He shows up at the house like at 4. We drive down there, and I told him, I go, "We'll be back by 7 or 8. It won't be that late." Well, the first event has a 25-minute time cap. First event, it's a 2-part event. First of all, it's 5
And
minutes.
they're running waves of each event, not just
like 6 people at a time.
yeah.
And the Masters had 2 heats in itself. So the first event's 5 minutes, get a 1-rep clean, you get a 2-minute break. Then you get on a 21-15-9. 2,100 meters on the row or 21 deadlifts, 1,500, 15, 9, 9. So it's taken, people are capping out on these events. So I don't get on the floor until almost 11 a.m.
Oh gosh.
I started my last event at like 10:30 at night.
Oh, no.
And I just kept looking at Brian. I was
way.
like, "Dude, I'm sorry. I had no idea." And then,
Carol's blowing up my phone,
Yeah.
like, "Dude, where are you at? What's going on?" And I'm like,
I don't
We had
blame her.
no idea. We rode down there together.
I went down
And
there
like-
2
and
years
like
ago, and I was back by like 6:30. Because they capped the
7
amount
or
of
8
people.
o'clock at night. I'm looking at, and I mean, we literally have not left the gym for
You had-
food or anything.
You had
and
a 5K in the morning.
Oh, did I?
That's
I
the
don't even
big
remember
thing.
that.
Y'all in
like,
Jackson,
well, I gotta get
Mississippi
you
or
back.
Jackson, Tennessee?
Mississippi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and
So
so
on
like,
top of that, y'all got another 3 and a half hour
And
drive.
I've been down there. I'd gone to the competition and last summer or the summer before, and I talked to them. I was like, I was in your first one. And they just shook their head. They're like, "Yeah, we didn't know. We should have capped the amount of athletes. We had no idea that many people were going to sign up. It was a big gym, but you could only run so many people at a time." But
and
yeah,
he
it was a
can't leave
long
the
day.
gym, but I'm having because I didn't bring anything thinking we were going to be there that long.
I think you went to Logan's or somewhere and got
Yeah,
some food.
I went and got like dinner, and maybe I brought you something.
No,
back.
you're the first person. I tell people now when I have new athletes that
Yeah.
want to do comps, I tell them you have got to take food.
Yeah.
Because back then I just get so amped up to do the comp. I was like into it, down to pre-workout, and I wouldn't eat all day. I might have a protein bar. And then for some reason, I always like just crash in the last event. And Brian saw it that night. I was like in the top 6. I had a chance maybe to podium. In the last event, really, if you looked at it, had kettlebell swings and stuff. I was like, this is going to be my jam. I love kettlebell. And I got out there and I was just like, this is so heavy. I'm dying out here. And we're driving back. He's like, you didn't eat at all today. I was like, oh yeah. I drank a lot of pre-workout.
Well, how do you go from that to broadcasting for the CrossFit Games?
All right. So started CrossFit. I would watch the games. I'll watch a lot of sports broadcasts, even if I'm not into the sport. I was into CrossFit, but whatever it is, if it's a good broadcast, because that's just you're a broadcaster, you appreciate good work. So I first time I think I ever saw a broadcast of CrossFit was the early days. This is before Sean Woodland got in there, and they really got really cleaned it up, got some professionals, and it may have been like a rebroadcast of the 2010 games. They're doing something on the track and coming over and establishing a 1-rep like split jerk or something after that. But the original guy, and I've told Sean this story, and I don't know what his name was. I don't think he's there anymore. But it came off like you would think watching exercise would come off. It was like, they're going for the split jerk. That's it's really impressive, and running around the track is like click. You go, I don't know what this is. I'm not going to watch track and field. And then I caught it a couple years later when I got into CrossFit, and that's when Sean had gotten in there. And then you had the team of Woodland and Grundler and Tanya, and boy, they were really exciting. They called it like you want to call it, make it exciting. It's like, well, this is pretty cool. So somehow I started following Sean on Twitter, and he actually started following me because we're two broadcasters that do CrossFit. And it's in the fall of 2013. I'm sitting at home. The basketball team is at Madison Square Garden. They're about to play Florida. And so I don't make that trip.
The basketball team being University of Memphis.
Memphis. So I've got a women's game either the night before or the next night, so I don't go on this trip. I'm about to go grab a beer somewhere, watch the game. All of a sudden, Facebook, it pops up on the CrossFit Games Facebook feed. If you've got broadcast experience and have a great Fran time, this is what the ad said, and a great Fran time, and you're interested in doing play-by-play, color, or sideline, send your demo and a short letter to this email address. So as a broadcaster, I've got my demo tape and my resume on my computer, so it doesn't take long. I just send them an email, shoot them a letter, And I knew it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, the Fran time. So I'm like, hey, I don't have a great Fran time, but a CrossFit, Michelle Kinney. I name-dropped. I was like, Michelle Kinney's my coach. Lost all this weight, blah, blah, blah. Here's my demo. So I go up to the
you didn't mention Swanson.
Sorry.
Oh, man. I work out at 6 a.m. with Brian Swanson.
Yeah, it's only me and him. It's hardcore. So I'm up there, and it gets to be halftime of the game, and my email alert goes off on the phone. So it's a kickback from that Gmail account. It's like, we've received your stuff. We would like you to voice over. They gave me a YouTube link to Cinco 1 from the games the year before, and that's the one-legged. That was the weighted pistols.
Yeah,
Remember the kettlebells with the skulls on the front, and then the handstand walk and the heavy deadlifts. So the next day, I'll probably voice that over a dozen times because you want it to be good. You don't want it to be so clean that it's super pre-recorded. But I watched the broadcast 10 times, took some notes, kind of some points I needed to make, voice it over, send them an MP3. The next morning, this is like 36 hours later, next morning, Sean Woodland emails me, and he's the guy you hear on all the individual stuff, calling Froning and Frazier and all the big calls. He emails me, he's like, got your stuff. We're probably going to use you at regionals. It was great. And also, drop some hints on Twitter. Because I knew he followed me. I was like, I'm going to send my resume into this and see if he would like it. It's like, all right, he knows it's coming. At least I'm through the first window. At least he's gonna pull my MP3 and maybe get the job. And I think Brandon Domain and I were the two they hired that year off of that Facebook ad. So
I want to ask you a question about the voiceover. Is that you're responsible for your own script, or they send you this and say
they send a YouTube link with Cinco and they're like, go to this time mark, and when it beeps, you just start calling the action.
Whatever you see.
Whatever I see.
Not read this.
Right.
Oh, man.
Now, Sean's told me now they get flooded with stuff. It's so popular now they get flooded. And Sean says he's received demos before where the person will repeat verbatim everything he said, which I think is like, you can't do that. But, I took some notes, make sure you talk about the technique or how they're doing it. So I wanted to cover all my bases. So did the regionals that year, 2014. That was the last year they had the 17 regionals. So I get assigned to the Northeast. And I'm going up there thinking, this is going to be great. I'm going to see Austin Malialo, Spencer Hendel. Tominski had gone team that year. Danny Horan was up there. Kalina Ladaris. I'm like, this is going to be great. I'm going to watch these athletes that I've watched a long time. And they told me in the information stuff, they're like, keep an eye out on this guy, too. He was at the regionals last year. He did okay. He did really well on one of the weightlifting events. He was at the Olympic Village for a while. Matt Fraser, he might See if he does anything this year.
Really?
He ends up like blowing everybody away in the regional. So that's the first time everyone's like, well, okay, last year he didn't have any engine. He's cleaned that up. He wins the regional. And I'm thinking in my head,
Nice.
He's a rookie. Maybe he'll finish top 20 at the games. The games are a lot different. And that's the year his first year at the games, goes second, then he's won it 3 years in a row. But at that point, you don't know. You're just like, oh, he did really good up here in the Northeast. Hendel didn't make it. Malialo. Hobart made it that year. But it's kind of, at that point, you don't appreciate Matt Fraser right there.
Right.
You're like, oh, Matt Fraser, rookie. He'll do all right.
But now when people are going back on YouTube and looking at that regionals, his first regionals,
yeah, it's me.
They're hearing their voice.
Matthew Fraser. That's when it was Matthew.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Matthew
awesome.
Fraser.
Very, very cool.
You're responsible for a lot of names.
Yeah.
Is that a gift that you have, I'm assuming, is being able
No,
to
you do the
remember
best
names?
you can, and it's developed over the years where we get, when you do college and pro sports, you get a pronunciation guide. CrossFit, they've got so many athletes there. This year, they did a pronunciation deal on MP3. Kristen Toth did it. She got an MP3 of every athlete that checked in, teams, individuals. She would just go, say your name twice. Then there's a file we could go to. And even when I did the affiliate, I've done the affiliate cup, and you get some of the foreign teams in there, you're not quite sure how their affiliate's pronounced. So it was great. I just punched it and listened to them say it. So this year I was able to get all the pronunciations right. I mean, you do the best you can, but I mean, I'm not going to be able to sit in the check-in area all day long and go, who are you? What's your name? Make sure I say it right. You do the best you can. It was great when I could just send an intern. That was the best of the regionals. Because I didn't have to go in the warm-up area and awkwardly ask somebody. I'd be like, hey, here's a list of names. Go find them and come back. Let me know what they're – double-check their names for me.
Did you find that CrossFit treated you better, or like how did that compare to Tiger?
Oh, it's very professional, just like the Tigers, because they run it. They have their directors and producers and their staff. They're hiring people that have done Olympics, Super Bowls, NCAA championships. I mean, there's a bunch of HQ people, but the people they bring in to produce and direct it, and those TV trucks have been at the highest level. And then with Sean, he's been at the highest level. Joe Novello from HQ. Mike Roth, our lead guy, he's not at HQ, but he just, I think, retired from doing the Carolina Hurricane NHL broadcast.
Oh, wow.
But he's done Olympics and stuff like that. And it's funny, every year we have our first meeting. We go to the games, and Tuesday night he calls it the Broadcaster Boot Camp. So you go in there, and they close the doors, and the TV screen comes down. You see them pulling up the YouTube channel, and they're great about it. And you've got to have kind of a thick skin. And they're not brutal to you or anything, but they go, look, we're going to look at these and look at the good stuff you do and the bad stuff you do. Just know we're refining things here. If you couldn't do your job, you wouldn't be here. But Roth, they call him Rothy. Rothy will come in and goes, all right, we're going to get naked here. So we're really going to break it down. So just don't get upset. If you couldn't do the job, you wouldn't be here. It's really not that bad. I think he just over-prepares us.
Nitpicking your previous year performance and that kind of thing.
Yeah, the last 2 years, thankfully this year, but in 2015 and 16, we get in that meeting, and they pull up the TV, and it's my regional that pops up first. And I'm just like, oh, here we go. So this year I popped up like third, and it was something good.
Like watching
so
game film.
Yes, yeah.
They go back slow motion.
And that's what they say.
Like,
It's like watching your game film.
And do you know when it's coming? Like, this is the part where...
Yeah, sometime like sometime an athlete will pop up there, and you don't remember what you said because it's been 3 days of 12-hour days, and you're like, I hope this is a good one, not a bad one. And this year it was good. It was great.
Good.
I got the good stuff this year.
Nice.
I can remember sitting in game film days and just knowing one particular play out of 120
Yeah.
just is coming. I'm like, third
They hit
quarter.
the rewind.
It's coming.
Rewind.
It's coming. And then it comes. It's like, uh-oh. And it's just give it all you got.
Yeah, the broadcaster boot camps, it's good. They want to make you better.
So what's going to happen?
They want to improve the product.
What's going to happen now that all the controversy with CrossFit HQ blowing up, just canceling the whole thing? They held all.
No more CrossFit games.
In media in particular, right? They said they were going to just do. Did they fire all the people that you're talking about?
I don't know. I think I've not talked to Sean. I'm going to wait for them to contact me because I'm sure they're getting flooded with everything right now. I want to see what happens and plays out officially.
Is it something you did? Did you charge too much?
Yes, my rate was too high.
We can't
you
afford
sank
this
it.
guy.
Yeah, I wasn't the guy in Brazil, so that wasn't me.
I had read on Reddit that they were going to hire like CBS or something to handle.
Well, they already covered the broadcast.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know. Like I said, I've had no contact, but maybe they have them take over the hiring of the staff or the announcers.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But hopefully at that point they would also say, we would prefer you hire our experienced people that have been around it. Whatever decision they make, if I'm retained, it's a great decision. If I'm not,
Exactly.
It's awful.
Well, why wouldn't you want to hire people that are passionate about the thing that you're broadcasting and also are broadcasters?
The good thing is CBS does like having those broadcasts.
Yeah.
They have invested. Not that ESPN didn't, but CBS has really taken some ownership. They're sending their own people to the games. They've sent one of the guys that does the update desk is a CBS guy. They're really into it, and they want to spread the message, not just of the games, but the health and fitness into it as well.
You kind of mentioned it earlier about the guy doing the cleaning circle. Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
Like, basketball is one thing, but like people that are into like weightlifting, they don't want to hear what's the guy Bob Costas or whatever his name is like talk about a dude doing a cleaning circle.
Even
they want to hear somebody that's like, he really got underneath that.
Even the people behind the scenes, they want you to have done CrossFit. Rothy, our lead guy, they told him, they're like, we're going to pay for 6 months at your local affiliate. We really want you to start doing CrossFit. And he said at first he was skeptical. He's like, I don't need to do CrossFit to see people do push-ups. They're like, you're not going to be able to convey the message if you don't understand what they're doing. It's not just doing some push-ups or some pull-ups. You need to understand.
Did you see how fast that dude got under that bar?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
He's hurting.
Right.
He is hurting.
They want you to understand the pain.
You have to know what hurting means.
So, they're real big. In fact, when I went to the Northeast that first year, Castro shows up the first day. And I'm working with John Jansen, former Redskin, played football at Michigan. And John's worked for the Big Ten Network and ESPN, but he's like, Castro's here. He's going to stand right next to us and listen to us. I was like, oh, that's fine. I mean, I'm a professional broadcaster. He's either going to like it or not. So, and Castro's great. People can say, whatever they want to about it, but he'll go around and shake everyone's hand on the week, volunteers and everything. He comes up, just says hey to everybody. So he comes up to me. He's like, hey, and I'm like, oh, hey, good to meet you. You go, I'm from Memphis. I've done broadcasting X amount of time. And he's like, where do you CrossFit, right? He's like, and I dropped Michelle's name immediately. I was like, yes, Michelle Kinney's my coach. He's like, okay, that's cool. So I was like, don't screw this up. And he did. He stood right there in front of us because we were up on a little platform and for about an hour. He'll come in and put the headsets on and just listen to the broadcast.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. So
I guess most broadcasters on some level are independent contractors.
Yeah. You can either work for the team or be a contractor. So I contract out through the university. Pick up freelance gigs, some ESPN 3 gigs here and there, do the CrossFit stuff, find jobs where you can. It's a fun job, but it's like I was telling you before we went on the air, every week, they don't have the CrossFit games every week, and there's not a huge football game every single week. So it's a hustle. You got to hustle.
Well, I think that being a broadcaster would be somewhat like being a punt snapper. You really don't appreciate how good a good broadcaster is until you have a crappy one.
Right.
And then you're like, God, these guys are awful.
Right.
Like I can't listen to this. But your voice has rang through on some medium. I can remember for years. And that's exciting, man.
No, it's fun. And I've been fortunate because Sean's put me on the Affiliate Cup the last 3 years. First year, I went up there in 2015 to Masters Women, and that was great. I'm happy to be at the games. I'll do any division, but he put me on the Affiliate Cup the next year, and that was the second year Froning had his team at the games. And now with the Affiliate Cup getting so big, because now you're getting all the super teams, I'm really happy to have that Affiliate Cup. It keeps me on Sunday afternoons at a big stage, either in the outdoor stadium or
that's pretty
or
cool.
the arena. So, I mean, I love being the Affiliate Cup guy because Sean's always going to be the individual guy, and he should. He's great at what he does. He's the boss. So if I can keep that Affiliate Cup, it's been a blast. And now you got like the Don't Stop teams, Wasatch a year ago who won the games, all those big teams now. The Reebok CrossFit 1 team with Hendel and Malialo, and you're seeing more. I think as you see some of the athletes get older, I think instead of going masters, you're going to see more of them form up the teams just because Froning, really, and it's even before Froning. If you go back in the Ute CrossFit teams, I mean, Hack and Brooks back-to-back Ute CrossFit teams were the first 2 really big teams. And then Froning got his together a couple years later. Even Froning's first year to go team in the Affiliate Cup, they had the NorCal team, who, don't forget how big of a lead they had until Miranda Oldroyd hurt her knee on the clean. They still finished in the top 10. She didn't compete the last 2 days of the games. They still had a top 10 finish. You had OC3's team that year, too, who was running away up the Central Regional over Froning's team, and they had a freak injury where one of the female athletes, they were Team Rollins that year, fell or something on the GHD, split her kneecap in half. And so that was it for them. They ended up winning the Central. And
these people? Is that what
you
you're
never,
saying?
you
Sounds
never know.
like
You may
it.
have squirted some water on the floor next
Yeah.
to them.
Wow. Well, we are out of time. Our hour is up.
That went by fast.
I thought we were like 15 minutes into it.
Yeah, me too, man.
It goes
that
fast.
was really cool.
Yeah,
As-
this
as
is
you know,
the
it's not
opposite
like
of a
this-
WOD where you think you're like 30
Yeah.
minutes in, and it's like,
Well, Bill
how's the
Ferguson
clock
said
only
he was
on
going to
5
email you
minutes?
all these questions and
And he didn't.
try to sabotage
He didn't
me.
come through.
He didn't. Next time.
We'll get you some. You can have unlimited LHRL transfer stickers if you want to put them on the cameras, or on the leaderboards
Right,
while
right.
you're there.
Or put it
any
on the back
shirts.
of your laptop,
Right.
so that while the camera's pointing at you. if
We're not
you're-
asking for much.
Touchdown Jones. Do you know he listens to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast?
It's been a real pleasure.
No, it's been great.
It's
Yeah,
nice
thanks
to
a
know
lot,
you.
man.
Yeah.
Let's keep in touch. I look forward to
Outstanding.
listening to you during Tiger football season.
Yeah, that'll
How are we
be
going to be
fun.
this year? Pretty tough.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You excited?
Liberty Bowl's looking great. I was out there today testing some stuff out with the engineer.
So that's got to make a difference in your whole mood and career to wake up and
It's-
think we're on a
it is
we're
much
gonna be a
more
nationally
fun
ranked team.
when people have asked me before, what's your favorite sport? And it's cliche, but I tell them, I go, whoever's winning. Everything's just better when you're winning. Planes are on time, buses are on time, the meals are great, everyone's in a good mood. I've been on the other end of it. It's miserable. Yeah.
That's
so if you're with a
interesting.
winning team,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what sport it is. It could be one of the the big sports, one of the Olympic sports. It's a lot more fun.
They're talking about Tigers doing a lot of winning.
Yeah. It'll
Gonna
be
be a
fun.
fun
It'll be a
season.
good year.
It'll be fun.
Looking forward to listening to you. Lift Heavy Run Long podcast episode number 112 is in the books.
Boom.